Good morning. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, my dears. Find the chat. Hello, Manuela, Viviana. All right. Let me get the second camera set up. Good morning. How are you feeling, my dear? Is it chilly still in Lima, or did it get warm? A little cold, huh? Well, we'll warm you up. Today will be a warm practice. All right. Hello, Miss Ursula. Welcome, my dear. Let me just get this set up. All right. Okay, here we are, my loves. A little chilly in Peru. I am not surprised. I wish we could do a temperature exchange. I'll give you a little bit of the blazing heat and humidity here in Miami, and you guys can send some of that cool weather. It's like, you know, the perfect weather that I've had was when I lived in Hawaii in the winter. It was like 65, 70 degrees, and like just the right amount of humidity. The air like smelled like the plants, but not so much that you couldn't get anything to dry. So guys, I just was outside and I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. So you're seeing me on like this. I have to put some oil on. Like literally, I was out there for 2 minutes. They really wanted to give me kisses. All right, so my loves, requests for today. Is it still hips and hamstrings? This seems to be the big one. Yes, no, are we on speaking terms? Let me know while I try to get rid of the mosquito. Yikes. It's like the permanent recording is me dealing with mosquito bites. Eventually I'm gonna have this little intros edited out, but it's I have 3 different people doing editing work for me. So guys, are you there? Are you with me? Are we friends? Are we on talking terms? I'm lonely. I'd like to move everything. Yeah, I'm planning on teaching a strong sequence today, guys, because I would like to move everything. So you're going to be practicing with me. How does the lighting look? I've been playing around with a new technique of lighting the room where I'm actually bouncing light off the walls around me, because I feel that it actually improves the lighting better than having it directly on me. Perfect light. Yeah, it looks a little bit more artistic. So I was just, you know, doing some reading on lighting, and yeah, it looks brighter. Isn't that funny? So what I'm doing here, I'll turn the camera around so you can see, is the lights are actually hitting the wall. For any of you, you know, so I have them against the white walls all around the room, and it gives the room a ton of light without being like on me. And it's also much more pleasant to teach. So I'm learning. Yoga set. Yeah. So this is like a friend of mine who does lighting was like, I'm like, oh, it's always on my face, and then I'm having to adjust, and then there's like, you know, darkness around me. He's like, turn all the lights around. I'm like, what? You can turn all the lights around? So he's like, yeah, it bounces off the walls. I'm like, aha. We have an improvement. The more you know. All right, guys, start getting excited because we are gonna move our culos, which I hear is Spanish for ass. We are gonna levanta los culos. All right, it's 9:30, and you know I like to start on time. Okay, so guys, we're gonna start with some core. If you have blocks, go ahead and grab them. Go ahead and grab it. If you don't, it's fine. You're just gonna put your hands on the floor. Okay, now take the blocks. Just adjust this a little bit and check my audio just in case, because Zoom changes the audio settings. Okay, it didn't. It's where it should be. All right, good. All right, so you got your blocks, put them next to you, squeeze your legs together. Now, when you push into the blocks, I want you to find this point in between the thumb and the first finger where it indents, and try to push that down. It may or may not touch the block, but you push it down anyways. Good. Lift your hips up, push it down, round your back and squeeze. Excellent. Now, bend your knees and lift your hips up. Exhale. Second time, bend around and squeeze your belly. Push with your hands. Push, push, push. Squeeze that belly. And inhale, lift your hips. Excellent. Release. Sit down. Good. Take your hands. Set your blocks a little bit to the side. We're going to use them again. Take your hands behind you and begin to push yourself forward. Squeeze your legs until, so you're squeezing the top of your legs until your heels lift off the mat. Let me bring the camera down so you can just see. So like this, you see I squeeze until my heels lift off the mat. I push with my fingers, and wherever your forward fold is, find that. Excellent. Release. Take your blocks. Palms flat. Push all the way up. Round your back. Squeeze your belly. Tuck your chin. Squeeze your belly. And with your next inhale, just bend your knees and push your hips up towards the sky. Exhale. Back. Squeeze your belly. Hold. Hold, hold, inhale, levanta sus culos, lift your hips. Excellent, slowly down. Sorry guys, I went to bed early, so I'm very sassy this morning. All right, take your hands behind you. Expect bad jokes all coming your way. Same thing, I want you to push with your hands and squeeze your legs until your heels lift up. Lift the chest, the head is up, push, push, push. Try to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Good morning, Nikki, Andrea, Anais, Monica, Ursula. I get to see all you guys in a little bit. Excellent, release. Take your feet, place them together in diamond pose in front of you. Good, take your, I'm a little out of breath. Take your hands to your knees, exhale, round your back and hold. Hold the position. Pull your shoulder blades forward, round, round, round. Tuck your chin. Stretch into the back body. Good, now shift forward and really hold your legs. Hold your elbows in. Open your chest and feel like this is blossoming and you're trying to pull the shoulder blades together like you're squeezing a pencil. Excellent, good. And then walk your hands as far as they go in front of you, as far as they go, wherever that is. Walk them, let your back round here. Walk, walk, walk as far as you can. It doesn't have to go as far as mine do. Just as far as you can and feel that you're tractioning on the ground. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now walk your hands to the right side. And same thing, just feel like you're pulling. You're pulling with your hands. So I keep like adjusting my hands and I'm pulling. This is gentle, this is not super intense. Maybe it's intense for you, it's okay. Walk back, but it doesn't have to be. Other side, to the left. And you're just trying to extend. It's a little bit directional mobility side, but the idea here is you're trying to get a bit of an extension, just a bit of space in the spine. And of course, our beautiful, ever tight hips, back to center. Good, release. Cross your ankles. Go ahead and come forward onto all fours. Okay, onto all fours, guys. Take your right hand and turn it so the fingers face back. Now notice this rotation in the elbow. Shine the eye of the elbow forward. I'm going to go over some of the adjustments for the wrist today in our teacher training course so you guys can really understand this pose. Excellent. Forward and back. Awesome. Other side. Left goes back. Spread the fingers. Press the nails into the mat. That's the Ha foundation, moving forward and back. It is a Tha asana, meaning mostly we're working with surrender with a Ha base. The hand provides stability and accuracy of the forces. So we're directing those forces into a specific part in the wrist. Excellent. Turn both your hands back and bring your pinky fingers together. Now, pro tip, see if you can find your fingertips and lift just the tips off the mat. It'll totally feel funky and it might not happen, but try. And then lean back, stretch, come forward. 2 more times, lean back and hold the lean back. Stay here for a little bit longer. And come forward. Excellent. 3rd time, hold the lean back, sit back, smile. You're awesome. You're going to feel fantastic throughout today's practice and afterwards. Good. Release. Plant your palms firmly on the mat. Turn your toes under and press back for your first downward dog of the day. Now, I recommend you step your feet wider than your mat, because this turns downward dog into a hamstring opening pose. With the feet just a little bit wider, for most people, you'll be able to get deeper into the hamstring. There are some people it's not true because they have a little tightness in a different place, but just see for you if this is a useful variation. Good. Now round your back, inhale, come forward, 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 hold. Now take your right foot and touch it to your knee. Knee to your nose, sorry. Knee to your nose, step it back. Excellent. Stay forward, left, knee to nose. Excellent. Take it back. Bend your knees. As you go back, take your head through and play around with straightening the legs. Excellent. 2nd round. Tuck, 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 tuck. All the way forward, shoulders past the wrists. Hold. Good. Find your right knee and take it to the outside of your arm. Step it back. In between sides, take a break. Bend your knees, come back, paddle. Tuck, slow movement forward. Tuck, 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 shoulders past the wrists. Engage your core deeply. Left knee to your left shoulder. Try. Hold, hold, and release. Step it back. Excellent. Toes. Bring your knees down to the mat. Both hands reversed your right and your left backwards. Try to shine the ivy elbow forward. Lean back, stretch the wrists, spread the fingers. Excellent. Now, bring your forearms down to the mat. Interlace your fingers together and take the pinky on the bottom and tuck it inside the hand to protect it. Excellent. Then parallel your thumbs. Walk your elbows more narrow than your shoulders and turn your toes under. Take your head through. Step your feet as wide as you would like and keep pushing with your fists. Try to take your head through, push your fists down. Good. Now slowly shift forward and bring your forehead to touch your thumbs and take it back through your arms. Push here, try to create more space in your shoulders. Excellent. Now shift forward and take the top of your head and touch your forearm. It's a different position. Lift up, take your head all the way through. And hold here. Keep trying to create more space in the shoulders by pushing your fists down towards the mat. And one more time. You're going to shift forward, and this time take your chin past your thumbs and take it back. And then bring your knees down to the mat. Extend your arms out in front of you, Anahatasana. So that was a warm-up for the shoulders and the area behind the top of the heart. So it helps to prep for Anahatasana. And as you come into this pose, either your forehead's on the mat or your chest and chin, and keep reaching with your hands forward. Don't just hang in the pose. Don't go forward. Just in the arms, feel that they're extending. Excellent. And slide forward, bringing your belly onto the mat. You're doing great. Okay, so This is one of my favorite practices. It's super important for strengthening our lower belly and the muscles along the spinal column. Take your hands, interlace, and parallel your thumbs. Good. Walk your elbows so they're a little more narrow. And then when you're ready, tuck. Now, the idea here is not to bring your hips up super high. It's to stay low. Stay low and just really, really, really over contract that lower belly. Excellent. Release. Separate your hands. Sphinx pose. Good. Back to the position. This time, let's keep our hands apart. If you like, make sure the elbows stay narrow. It's very important. Then tuck and lift and hold. So what you'll see about today's sequence is I'm putting a lot of poses which are nearby, and they work in consideration of what's coming next. So here we're strengthening the core, but what's coming next is going to be some opening asanas for the shoulders. Release, down, Sphinx pose. And so you notice that you're strengthening the core, but you're also warming up your arms. Works good. It's fast, efficient way to practice. All right, guys, third round. And this time we're going to move a little bit side to side. So tuck. Excellent. Then bring the right hip down a little bit and the left. Come back to center, tuck. Make sure you have that tuck. Right. And then left. Back to center. Correct it. One more time, guys. Right. And left. Ah, amazing. Good. Let's take an upward dog here. Plant your palms. So get this nice shape. 90-degree angle. And then rise up. Now first take an active version where you pick your legs off the ground. And then make it a little sloppy. Bring the hips down, let the shoulders come up. So you have a ha and a tha version. When the shoulders come up here, let your shoulder blades move. So the purpose of this is not only to open the front of the hip on each side, but also to get your shoulder blades not adhered to the back body. Excellent. Now lower back down. Take your right arm and extend it all the way out to the right in a 90-degree angle, and then you're going to bring it up to the height of your eyes. So you see that I have this angle here of my spine and the arm is greater than 90 degrees. Then I roll onto the right side. And then, if you would like, all the way around. Now notice what I do here is I come around and then I pick my hips up and I lift them further away from that right arm. Excellent. Now, if you're binding, the hands come together and you have to flip the palms so the thumbs go out. And then the right foot picks up and you rock. If you can't bind, don't worry. Just keep doing the right side. The bind is just extra. It doubles up the stretch, but soon you'll get there. Shoulders change quickly. Excellent. Release the right leg. Roll all the way back to your belly. Bring your body back to the center of the mat. And take your hands wide, so fingers face away, and they're wider than your mat. If it's here, it's not going to be targeting what we want. So make sure it's wide. Push the elbows forward. Cross the ankles. Tuck your tailbone. And up. 5 of these. That's 1, 2. Keep your head up. Core strong. 3. Excellent. 4. And 5. Good. All the way down. Take your body to the left. Extend your left arm out to the left. Roll all the way around. Now, once I get here, I lift my hips up. I adjust. I'm increasing the angle between the leg and my hips. And interlace the hands and rock. If your hands don't interlace, don't worry. Give it a couple of weeks. It actually happens quite quickly. Just practice every day. Shoulders change quickly. Excellent. Slowly unwind. Make your way back to center. Good. Take your hands wide, fingers face out, push your elbows forward, cross your ankles. Tuck your tail first, and then come up. That's 1, 2. Push your elbows forward, keep your head up. Let your shoulder blades move. Excellent. Come all the way down to the mat. Walk your arms out in front of you, and then walk them in. So you create a little space underneath your armpits. Take the right under the left, and take the left on top. Find your hands and walk them a little further apart, trying to separate the elbows. Separate the elbows. And then tuck your toes, scoot yourself forward. You're trying to position the heaviest part of your chest on top of your arms. And drop. Keep dropping your weight, just melt. This pose is totally thaw. You're not really activating anything. This is a thaw version. There are active versions of the pose, and they're very intense. So keep dropping. Let your shoulder blades move apart, elbows move apart. Excellent. Lift up, lift your shoulders up just a little bit. Take your elbows out to the side, turn your hands, cross your ankles, tuck your tailbone, and up. That's 1. Keep your core strong. Head up, let your shoulder blades move. Over-exaggerate the movement of the shoulder blades. Excellent. Belly comes down. We'll walk your arms out in front, and then bring the hands in so you create a little space under your shoulders. Left goes under right, and now right on top. And once you get here, see how I self-adjust. I try to create as much space as I can between the elbows. Then I turn my toes under and I scoot forward, trying to position the heaviest part of my chest on top of the elbows. And drop your weight. You can let your head go, or you can always put a block under the head. I hold mine up because I'm talking, but just see what feels comfortable to you. And keep melting. Let the humerus bones, elbows come apart. Let the shoulder joint have some extra mobility. And then let the shoulder blades move. This is opening up the space in between the shoulder blades. Excellent. Lift up, float up, take your elbows out to the side, rotate the hands, cross your ankles the other way, of course. Push your elbows forward. This core is always strong. That's 1, 2, keep your head up. 3, elbows forward, 4, head up, core strong. 5, and let's do an extra one because we're so strong. And 6. Amazing. Bring your belly to the mat. Now interlace your hands behind your back. Squeeze them together and just lift your chest up. Good. Find your shoulder blades. Now, of course, if you can't find the hands, take a towel. Towel in between them so that you can straighten the arms. It's more important the arms are straight with a towel than bent and bound. Squeeze, lift up. And then if you want, you can pick up your feet and then find your belly and draw that in and up. So no lazy belly. Excellent. Cross your wrists under your chin. Relax, close your eyes, drop your body into the ground. I want you to melt your whole body just for 2 cycles of breath. Become totally melted, soft, heavy. Allow the tissue to expand away. And now I want you to find your willingness to do your very best in your practice today, to make it yours, to pay attention, to keep your attention on your mat, on your breath, on your hands, on your feet. And rise up. Bring your hands to the bottom of your waist. Inhale, upward facing dog. As you exhale, contract your belly. Move slowly here. Move slowly, slowly, slowly. And in that slowness, you begin to really make the practices elegant. Then slide forward with the arms, taking your chest and chin or forehead to the mat. Another variation is you can put blocks under the hands or the forearms, and the head can come through. This is good for people with very tight shoulders, so just an option. Excellent. Then slowly rise up, round, round, round. Place your palms on the mat, push back to downward dog, and just have a moment and notice how your shoulders feel. Now, anytime I call downward dog, you can change your foot position to be wider if you like that version. It's your choice. Awesome sauce. Take your right leg and lift it up towards the sky. Now, I want you to press the right leg straight, not the left. The left can be bent, but the right leg, lock the knee and push. Try to extend and push with your hands. And then find your left heel and begin lifting it up and down as high as you can. Keep your palms pushing flat. Excellent. So now lift your left heel all the way up so you get a lot of height. And then begin tucking your tailbone and bringing your right knee towards your right shoulder. Round your back and shift forward. And then when you get there, pick up the right hand and place it. So you see when we slow down these transitions, you get a workout. And we also find that the actual form will greatly improve. So come into this long lunge. I want you to slide your left foot back as far as you can. So for those of you in the teacher training, what I'm doing here is I'm not hurrying to get into the final version of this pose, because each alignment adjustment, the student's working and they're finding their bones better. So we can really just, we don't need to go any further. We can just stay here for a bit and adjust the alignment. Squeeze the left leg straight, lift up the toes in the right, hug the right knee in and try to square the hips. And then when you're ready, bring the left knee to the ground. Once the left knee's on the ground, try to traction or drag yourself forward. Keep your right foot totally active with all four corners of the foot on the ground. Let me move back and see if we can get my front foot and my face in the shot. Almost. Almost. There we go. Now, if you would like, you can come down onto your elbows. One of the most important things in this pose, if you want to get your hip flexibility to change, is to get the ha and the tha forces correct. So guys, you're gonna stay in the pose. We're gonna be here about 15 breaths. Get comfy, regulate your breath, and commit, find your willingness. So here in this front foot, if you activate this, so that's the ha force. It's active, you're pushing with this point in between the base of the big toe, base of the second toe into the ground. You're pushing that down, trying to lift and spread all the toes. Now at the same time as you're doing that action, you're actually sinking the hips. These are tha, so you want to let them go down. Gravity does the work on the hips. Okay, the knee, we're not super worried about whether it's in front or behind the ankle because there's not a lot of weight on this knee, so you should adjust that as you prefer. This, you can lengthen your stance and have the foot in front of the knee, totally correct, has one effect. Or you can pull it behind, different effect. I tend to prefer this one. It's a little harder, but both are correct. So you're about 8 breaths in, guys. So the next thing I want to bring your attention to is your lower belly, that point underneath the belly button. Find that point and draw it in and up. At the same time as you let the hips be tha, that point becomes ha or activated. Almost done, my love. Stay with me. Excellent. Now I want you to bring your hands to the mat. And straighten your legs, drag your right one back, hop your left one forward. So we're in a very wide stance. This is an excellent time to support yourself with blocks because the most important part of this pose is that you get an arch in the spine. You can even come up higher onto a chair until you get that arch. So look for the arch. Now, we want to play with our poses. So see that you can push your right hip out to the right and keep the foot really active. Maintain your foundation and then out to the left. And so this is nice as you see from side to side how the forces change. One more time, right out to the right, left out to the left, so we can see our range of mobility here. And then we return to center, and now try to place the hips neutrally. So you see, so that they're even, not so I'm avoiding having one hip kick up. Try to place them evenly. And you can check this with your hand. Foot is active. Walk your hands forward. If you would like, this can be done on the block or the chair. And drop your head through. So this is an optional variation where I'm adding an extension of the shoulder joints in the spine to a pose which is a forward fold in the right leg. Regulate your breath, keep your feet active. All right, so now lift up and walk your hands underneath your shoulders. And so what we're going to do next, my loves, is change multi-dimensional space. I'm going to take you down to seated and core poses. So watch the transition. I shift my weight into my right leg and see that I bend the right knee. You want to get a connection with rib cage and femur bones. And when I do this, I take my left foot and I drag it. It's nice to be graceful. And you see how I'm taking the top of the foot. You can pause here, stretch the toes. And then I keep pushing into the left leg and I use it like a brake. And I sit down behind it. So this is just a very elegant way to come from that pose into this one. But now look at the setup. We have this left leg folded under. And I can just take the hands behind, extend to the right leg, and pick it up. And we have 10 of these core strengthening poses. Straight leg. And notice the position that my left foot is folded underneath the right hamstring. Spread your toes, keep the leg straight up and down. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the way up and hold, get strong. And then lower that right leg down. Now, my left arch is underneath the right hamstring. This is very good. Watch what we do next. I want you to shift your weight so you're totally sitting on that left foot, but it's in the very top of the hamstring, right in front of the sits bones. If this is too painful for any reason, then don't do it. Just do it forward fold. It's totally fine. But if you like it, first we start by getting the spine upright, the right foot active, and see that you can squeeze the muscles in the right leg and pick that left heel up. Excellent. Now begin to extend into your forward fold. And so this is some of the fun stuff when you learn Vinyasa Krama sequencing, because you can just easily move someone like playing. It's like learning to play jazz for yoga. And you don't have to memorize tons of stuff. You just have to understand how the different poses relate and how to change multi-dimensional space. Excellent, my loves. Now slowly rise up. I'm going to show you guys another transition. We're going to return to a low lunge, but in between we're going to take something called a rocking vinyasa, which is super fun. So first, have a look behind you and make sure there's nothing that you might crash into, and then watch me first. The most important thing here is I'm going to round my back when I move and tuck my chin. So then I'm going to go back like this and come up, and you see that I can lift up here and head towards a lunge. So we're just going to take that rocking up into this position 5 times. It'll massage your back and keep your legs in. All right, ready? 1, tuck your chin. And just come to here. 2. Left foot is under, right on top. 3. You can bring your hands together and get spiritual. 4. Excellent. And on 5, I want you to see that you can kind of lift up. Excellent. Then bring your hands down. Shift your weight slowly into the right leg. Rotate the left one. And we're going to press and extend and slide it all the way back on our mat. Super fun. So here we are back in our starting position of the low lunge. And since I know you guys have those beautiful, beautiful hips that you want to have more open, we're going to double down on the first pose. Sink your left knee to the ground, traction forward. Elbows down as you wish. Guess what? 15 breaths. No hurry, no worry. Find your willingness to change the hips. Now you can play with the pose however you want. But I want this strong foundation. Keep the right foot, all 4 corners grounded. And I'll show you some of the things you can do to play with it. You can hug the right knee in. You can take it out. You're very flexible. Watch. You can put the elbow in the arch. You can roll all the way down, only picking this foot up. And keep the ankle control when it has to. Now, of course, that transition is a little advanced, so do it your own discretion. Next, if you're working on more flexibility, you can lengthen. See, I created space. I moved that right leg forward. And then, see that I bend my hips up just a little bit until I get the shoulder underneath. And then I take both my arms, and we can just drop the shoulders down, just like this. Keeping this foot extremely active. Stay in the pose. So those are some of the super fun variations here. And of course, you might find some more. So the key thing is just being aware of keeping that right foot having a strong foundation. All right, bring your hands to the mat, turn your toes under, squeeze left leg straight, pick up your right heel. Don't hurry, guys. Come back, do the transition fully. Hug your right knee in, pick your foot up, and back to downward dog. Yikes. So guys, I want you to tell me, does it feel any different from the right to the left side? Anything changed? And then with your next inhale, shift forward. So get this core engagement. We want to overtrain this for a bit because it's really important to have it. You can always not use it later, but for now, let's get this core integration. So I am rounding my back a little bit. And then exhale down, point your toes. Inhale, coming up into cobra or upward dog. Take an active one where you push. And then get sloppy so we can stretch the shoulder blades and the top of the hips. Excellent. Contract your belly. Lift up. Anahatasana. Reach with your arms, either forehead on the mat or chest. And chin. Extend. Up, rise, walk your hands in, turn your toes under, press back to downward dog. Okay, so guys, I want you to see, just have a look for a moment. If you can remember the exact pose that I started with. I just want to see if you can remember. So take 2 breaths and try to remember, what did we actually start with? You know that we're going to a low lunge, but do you remember what was the entrance? How did I prepare you? Okay, just see if you noticed. And now, as we go through the sequence, just try to recall it, make it your own. So take your left leg and lift it up towards the sky. Press the left leg straight. You can bend the right knee, it's not a problem, but press the left one straight and spread the toes. The hip can be up or in line, it doesn't matter. Press the left leg straight. And then begin to lift your right heel up and down. Keep your left leg straight. Push your palms flat. Keep trying. Push with all of your feet and all of your hands. Push. Extend the weight from center of your body. Push. Now, slow transition. Begin rounding your lower back and draw your left knee towards your left shoulder. Lift on finger stands on the left hand for more space. And then replace your left hand with the left foot. Excellent. So now we have to lengthen the stance. So begin to sink the hips. Now you see if I sink right here, the knee bends and it looks all wonky. So you have to lengthen the stance because you want the heel in front of the ball of the foot. Good, and then try to square your hips and we stay high. So this is a ha version. We're warming up that left leg. And as you're doing it, you want to contract the belly. Belly is active. You see that I get that little bit of a round in the lower back. I'm pushing with the back foot and I squeeze the right knee totally straight, which opens the front of the right hip. Then your palms press into the ground and this left knee, hug it in. Try to square the hips. It's not easy, but try. You can do it. Now lower down. When you lower down, get in the habit of instructing and practicing traction. So what I mean by traction is that, and you guys stay in the pose, I'm just going to demonstrate. Someone whose hips are really tight will be up higher here. And so there's a lot of pressure in the front of the knee, and it's not good there. You should either pad the knee or try to get them to drag forward so you're on the top of the kneecap or the quadricep muscle. If not, pad the knee is a good recommendation. Now, if you would like, you know we're going to be here for 15 breaths total. We're about 4 in. If you'd like, you can sink down. And you can begin to play with this pose however you want, but keep this foot grounded. There's all kinds of variations. So just keep that foot grounded. Keep the toes lifting and just notice how bringing your attention consistently to just the foot and controlling it. First, it's difficult because your attention wants to distract. So learn to control your attention. Put it only there and on the breath. And when you actually correct the foundation, you feel it changes the information in the hip. And that's intense. But it's definitely worth it because once you actually make that change with some practice, you have different hips. Excellent. So take a moment and I want you to see if you can remember what was the next pose that we transitioned to and how was the transition. Just see if you can recall that before we go through it. And now decide that you're going to remember. So watch, I'm coming into pyramid pose. So I begin to lift the hips up and I traction that left leg down. The right leg comes forward. Now check the alignment. You want the outside edge of both feet hugging them out. So you have a very wide stance. And then if you're using blocks, they go directly underneath your shoulders, so it's one line. Elbows pressed straight, palms flat, head up, and you're looking for the arch. And then of course, if you would like, you can play around with either extending the blocks out in front or your hands. And just take a moment and see that you can shift your hips from side to side. Out to the left, to the right. Just see what your whole range of mobility is. And we want to get in the habit of playing with poses so we can come to find new variations. Every time you teach a group of people, they're going to need slightly different things, if not totally different things. Different climates, different temperatures, different heights from the ocean. You know, high altitude, you teach differently. And so you need to just be able to play so you can spot what people actually need. Keep regulating the breath. Let yourself sink nice and deep into whichever variation of the pose you're in. Keep correcting the feet. Focus on your feet and your breath. Focus on your feet and your breath. Bring your attention units back to your practice. Excellent. Now we're going to transition to the next pose. Just see if you can remember what it was. Just take a moment, see if you got it, and then decide to remember now if you didn't. And shift the weight into the left leg, bend your left knee so my left femur bone is touching the rib cage. Then I draw my right foot across, find the top of the foot. You can stretch it here a little bit. And then I mount down using the right leg as a brake, and I sit behind the right foot. Okay, so take a moment here and make sure that the arch of your right foot is in the hamstring of the left. Excellent. Extend your left leg. Hands come behind for support. And up and down 10 times. Go slow. If you use momentum, if you jerk the leg up, it's the wrong muscles. Even if you don't go very high, if it's just like a little bit, that's better than to do it fast. For this kind of training, there's times when we would do it fast if we're training like a kick or something, but here we're training slow, elegant movements. Just different muscle groups. Good, I think we got about 4 more. Keep your leg totally straight. Don't let the knee bend, guys. Don't let the knee bend. That was not the instruction. Keep it totally straight. You're pushing against an invisible wall. Excellent. Now, take that arch of your right foot and place it in front of the sit bone, and then pick your body weight up. So now I'm sitting on top of my left foot, and it's digging into the hamstring muscle. Now you can skip this if for any reason it just doesn't work, your knee hurts, it feels funky, it's uncomfortable. Just sit on the ground, take the forward fold, no worries. So next, squeeze your leg and see that you can lift the left heel off the ground. I'm not picking up the leg, I'm just squeezing the top of it so the heel comes up. And then release. Begin to extend with your arms forward, folding over the left leg. Spread the toes. Regulate your breathing. And ideally rest your eyes on the ground or close them. And as often as you can when you're practicing, you should try to close your eyes, just maybe occasionally opening them a little bit to glance at the screen if you need to. But ideally, you're able to duplicate the movements as much as you can just from audio or sound. Just an idea, play with that. Excellent. Release and sit up. So see if you recall what we're doing next. And take a moment and then decide to remember what it is. So this is a rocking transition, and it helps to massage the vertebrae and the muscles and tissue around along your whole spine. So notice I moved to the front of my mat because there's a wall behind me. So look behind and make sure you don't have any objects, people, plants, kids, pets. It's not ideal to roll on them. And then you're going to round your back, tuck your chin, and just come back. And you're rocking up to seated. And you can bring your hands in prayer as you like. This is 2. Good. 3. It's like a massage to the spine. 4. And 5. Awesome. So let's do one more. Come back a little bit if you're all the way at the front of your mat, because we're going to transition. Rock back. And come forward. So here, I shift the weight into the left leg. My hands come to the mat. I change the position of the right foot, and I slide it all the way back. And here we are at our starting position. And we get to finish with your favorite pose, hip openers. So here you get to play around. There's some variations. I think I showed this one with the elbow and the arch. Now, when I move with this, so this variation, just be aware it's intense. So you begin to fold out. You can see that I try to keep the foot all 4 corners grounded as long as I can, because I don't want to round the outside of the ankle. So then at the point when it needs to pick up, I activate the foot so it's not going to round, so I'm controlling the ankle. And there's a weight shift. You bring the elbows together as we shift to the side. Okay. Then to pick up, I keep that foot, it stayed active the whole time, and then we come all the way up. The key is I don't allow the ankle to round, because when it rounds, it takes the force into the wrong parts of the hip. Now guys, I think you have another 8 breaths here. So the next variation I showed is just lengthening. So here we're lengthening the angle. It does become a little more difficult because it's exposing the inner groin and a few other muscle groups. So you can play with this. And the variation, to get into it, I lift up slightly to get my shoulder underneath. Then I sink back down and bring the chest to the ground. Now notice the activity in my left foot. You see that it's really working? This is very, very important. If you collapse the foot, you actually went further, you went too deep than what you can control. So if you want the hip to grow longer muscle tissue, you have to keep the foot active. Otherwise, you're just stretching into the ligaments and the connective tissue, which actually does damage. Usually, not always, often. So if you do this, you'll get really flexible in a way you can totally control it and be like me, a strange lizard creature that moves. All right, let's transition back. Place your palms down. Straighten your right leg. Take your time here. Don't hurry out of this. Pick up the heel. Hug your left knee and pick it up. And step back. Now just take a moment and notice how does your body feel? Inhale, coming forward, top of the push-up, get strong. Shift your hips forward. Good. Exhale, lower down. Now point your toes. Start in this high position, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and rise up, traction forward. Then get sloppy shoulders. Right hip forward, left hip forward, and let your shoulders go up, sloppy shoulders. Because this is stretching the connective tissue around the shoulder blades, muscles along your spine. And return to neutral, find your lower belly and contract slowly. Then begin to extend your arms forward, either forehead on the mat or chest and chin. And slowly rising up. Okay. Cross your ankles. Now you can come to seated. Extend your legs out in front of you. About the distance of the mat wide. Okay, take your hands behind you, finger stands. Pick up your right leg, totally off the ground, but not very high, and just hold it. I want you to notice which muscles you feel activating when you do this. Notice where they are. And release. Other side, pick up the left leg, just hold it off the ground. And notice what exactly is working on your left side. Good, lower down. Begin to come into your version of the forward fold, but we're using this pushing force. So I squeeze my fingers together, and then I push into the mat, and I lift my chest up. So find where your edge is, and keep your head up. The feet are slightly active. It's not extremely active, but like a little bit, the toes are opening. And keep the arch in the spine. Okay, now slowly rising up. Walk your hands back so you're leaning back slightly. And I want you to pick the right leg up, not too high, and just hold it. Notice which muscles are working and see if you can make them work more efficiently. Really put your attention there and say, what exactly am I contracting? Should I contract it more or less? Or just have a look. See if you can improve the performance of just this region. Lower the right leg down. Excellent. Left leg lifts. Same thing. Just try to improve the performance of that region. Just hold. Just bring your attention. What's working? And can I get it to work stronger, easier, or what's, just put your attention on the side. Excellent, and release. Forward fold again, but use the active pressing. So wherever you are, if your hamstrings are tight, you're here or arching the back. If you're super flexible, you're getting your belly on your thighs, and I'm still pushing and keeping my head up and trying to arch the back. Although in the forward fold, you can't get a actual arch. I'm thinking arch, and I get a pretty extended straight spine. Keep your toes active. And now become aware of that same area on the right side and the left side that we just activated, lifting the leg up right now, and ask yourself, can I improve its performance? Like, should I relax it? Should I tense something? And just have a look and play with it a little bit and see if you somehow, by bringing your attention to that area, you can begin to improve whatever you think it's supposed to be doing. And I'm not telling you what it's supposed to be doing. You have a look and decide. Keep your toes open. Excellent. Go ahead and rise up. Now bring your feet together. Take your right hand behind you, left hand in front, and just twist a little bit and lean back. Twist just a little bit, so I just lean back, drop the shoulder, twist, and then I want you to pick your hips up so that you're in the side stretch. Now make sure your fingers in the front hand are facing forward. Find the center of the wrist, align it with the center of the hip. Pick your hips up, and then begin to shift the top hip forward. Now, guys, I want you to see what I'm doing in my left hand. It's not this. I see this commonly, the upper palm of the hand on the ground. I want you to make finger stands. Why? Because this is artwork. It's not just like trying to get by. Actually turn the pose into a piece of artwork. Like, get the shoulders even. Drop the hips, shift it forward, legs are squeezing together. Finish it with the balancing hand. Make it like artwork, not like this. Make it artistic. Finish it as you have this squeezing force. You need to have strong hands in yoga. Good. Now, as you're in the pose, keep playing with it until you find the place where exactly is your work today, which it may be different tomorrow. Excellent. Now just release and bend and return back to center. So I want you to sit just like this in neutral stance and become aware of that area that we just stretched and notice what feels different between it and the other side. Just see what changed, because for you to teach these poses, you have to know what the effect is. So, what changed? Okay, it's like this. I get it. Now I know when to use it. Perfect. Okay, so other side. First, we just take the left hand behind and the right hand outside and just lean back and push and just take a gentle twist. It'll get like the top of the hip, bottom of the lumbar spine. And then when you're ready, you're going to shift onto your left side. And take a moment here. I'm going to turn around so you can see me from the front. Take a moment here first. The fingers face forward, the elbow is locked, it's not bent. Then take a moment and stack your legs on top of each other. Now this left shoulder is lazy. It's not pushing, it's lazy, because it's actually being stretched as well. And then you can move this left hand forward as needed. Next, find your right hand and make finger stands. Make it an elegant long line. This creates tension in the shoulder first off. And there's no reason for it. There's not a good reason to take that hand position. It's an unconscious hand position. Now, if you tell me you have a good reason to do this, and you say it, it makes sense, then fine. But if it's just an unconscious pattern, let's train a beautiful form. Keep playing around with shifting the top hip forward and back until you find where your sweet spot is, which might be different on a different day. Keep regulating the breath. Now this pose is primarily tha, or surrender, or yin, as the kids like to call it. But the only part that's really active is the left hand a little bit and the lower belly. and the legs squeeze slightly together. The rest of it, everything else going on is soft. So I'm making soft here, soft shoulders, top of the belly is soft. Hip is soft. My inner thighs are working slightly. Excellent, release. And just return into the extended leg position. Awesome sauce. Take your feet, this time a little bit wider than your mat. And bring your hands behind and pick up your right leg. Just hold it right off the ground. Become really aware of what muscles are working and try to improve them. Just become very aware. You feel the lower core, outside of the hip, that's this, and try to improve it, improve it, improve it, improve it. And then release. Left side, pick it up. Just hold it off the ground. Keep the leg totally straight. It's not supposed to be easy, guys. Press your knee straight. If this is hard for you, you're pushing against an invisible wall. It's hard for you, hallelujah. Keep trying. How can you improve it? What's active? Pay attention, find it, find it, find it. And then release. Good. Now begin to walk forward. So there's a couple of variations you can play around with. It depends on your flexibility. Wherever you are, we want to think first to get the spine upright and then coming forward, forward, forward. Now, if you happen to be here, then another variation is to walk the hands out and using that thing where I kind of grip the floor. I'm actually trying to pull myself deeper. I'll move back so you can see that a little bit better. This is just a variation. And you decide. You're either pushing or pulling. Regulate your breath. Don't give up, guys. The body changes. All you got to do is practice, practice. And it's worth it for sure. Excellent. Slowly rising up, cross your ankles. Go ahead and roll forward on all fours. Turn your toes under and press back into downward facing dog. Excellent. Shift from side to side. With your next inhale, shift forward. Tuck the tailbone first. Slow and steady. And I want you to step your feet, all right, so they're close together. Shift forward. Squeeze your legs together. Just bend your elbows a little bit and hold. Squeeze your legs together. Hold. Core strong. Push that point in the base of the thumb down. And now back. Just keep your feet together. You don't have to go all the way back. Good. Shift forward to the top of the push-up. Squeeze your legs together. Option to flip the right wrist. Squeeze the belly. Shift forward. Squeeze the legs together. Hold. Squeeze. This is just an option. Otherwise, keep the hand in the regular position. Good. And back. Keep your legs together. Shift forward. Option. Left wrist flip. Shift forward. Engage your belly. Squeeze the legs together. Work in the pose. People can do hard things. Shift back. Release. Step your feet hip distance apart. Bend your knees. Sink and try to touch your head to the mat. And then come up. 3 more times. Bend your knees. Try to touch your head to the mat. 2. Good. Bend your knees. Let your heels come up. Try to touch your head to the mat. 3. Just very gently. 4. Try to touch your head to the mat. And 5. Excellent. Bring your knees onto the mat. Anahatasana. Slide it forward. Reach, reach, reach. Go ahead and come forward. Elbows come down onto the mat. Take your hands wide. Walk your elbows narrow. Tuck and lift and traction forward. Excellent. Release. Bring your belly all the way down onto the mat. And I want you to reach back and grab your ankles with the thumb facing down. Now, if you can't grab the ankles, you can grab the tops of the feet, but it's a little better if you can get to your ankles, so just try. And then walk your knees close together. Excellent. So you should feel like you got yourself. You can always use a strap or a towel if you can't reach your ankles. You just take it around the ankles. Awesome. So now we're going to do this 9 times, so you can be very gentle. You kick the legs back, lift up, and collapse. That's 1. And each time, try to walk your knees closer together. They'll want to come apart. Try to bring them close together, and be gentle. Ready? Let's begin. 1, lift up, release. 2, kick the feet back, release. 3, kick the feet back, try to take them up. Good, release. 4, up, collapse. 5, up, squeeze the belly, lift up, collapse. 6, knees together. 7, kick it up, and down. 8, kick it up, 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 and down. Last one, we're gonna hold it. Kick it up, hold. And release. Cross your wrists under your chin, soften down. Take a few deep breaths here and let your energy settle. Good job, good job. That's actually a very potent practice. It's one of the Nadi Shodhanas. It means cleansing of energy channels. So it flushes a lot out. If you did it, good work. Just take a moment and relax. Deep breaths. Awesome. So now from here, take your left arm forward. Take the armpit down. I want you to roll so you're laying on your left side. And walk your left arm. See how I use my fingers to walk it forward? And just balance here. And see if you can bring your legs into alignment. Drop your head and keep opening the left shoulder. This is an extension of the left shoulder joint, and it's being used as a preparation for the next pose to create a little more space in a pose that can be challenging. So the next thing you do is you come onto your back, and you take that left hand, and you place it as high on the rib cage as you can, but not too far under, because when you roll and you reach for your elbow, the ideal position is for your rib cage to be on the wrist, pressing it down. Awesome. So either you're reaching for your elbow, or you can take your hand with the fingers facing up and place it on the wrist. And just, if you want to make it more intense, you can bend your right knee up and straighten the left. This makes it more intense. You'll make it less intense. Roll back and put a block under your shoulders. And slowly release. Roll back onto your back and take your left hand now with the palm facing down, and then roll onto your left arm. Right goes alongside the body. You may need to adjust. The right elbow is trying to touch, to make out with your elbow. It wants to give it a kiss. Drop down. Excellent. Find your spider fingers. Walk them all the way around, 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 around. Second time, arm out to the left. Roll onto your left side. Bend your knees up. And if you're interlacing, you see I bring the hands together and then I flip them so the thumbs go away. because you want the inside line of the arm here, not the outside line. Excellent, and slowly rolling back onto your belly. Awesome. So other side, take your right arm out in front, roll onto your right side, rest your head on the shoulder, and then try to walk the shoulder forward. Try to walk it forward. Totally decompress the right shoulder. Excellent. Roll onto your back. Take your right hand as high up as you can on the rib cage and roll onto it, bringing your rib cage onto the wrist. You can begin to reach for your arm and just find where your edge is and hang out there. You regulate the breath. You're working with surrender, letting gravity do the work on the pose for you. A few more breaths, guys. Nice long hold here. Excellent. Roll onto your back. Take your right arm out to the right with the palm facing down and roll onto the arm. Now you may need to adjust. You want a box pose in the hips and the shoulders, and ideally trying to bring this left shoulder down to touch the right. Just be as soft and heavy as you can. Excellent. Lift your head up. Walk your right arm all the way around. And we're coming into this pose with the right arm out to the right. Roll onto your right side. That's the first position. Second, lift the hips. And if you're interlacing, hands come together and you flip the palms. If you're not interlacing, just place your left hand on your belly or the ground. And then the right leg can go and you rock, finding the full edge, adding a twist to it, leveraging your legs against the arms. Excellent. Slowly release. Return back to your center of your mat. Point your toes, hands come to the waist. And go ahead and rise up. Engage the lower belly. Last round, Anapatasana. Reach for it. Good. Rise up. Take downward dog. Notice the space in your body, guys. Notice how your shoulders feel. And when you're ready, bring your knees down to the mat. Cross your ankles and sit back. Okay. Well done, my loves. You have two options now. You can do bridge pose, lift up, and then happy baby, the long angle version. Or if you want bridge pose, then lift all the way up into full wheel. Just depends on if you're practicing full wheel. I'll demonstrate both. Either you do a long hold and bridge, or you do a full wheel, and then we all finish with that variation of happy baby I've been teaching. Okie dokie. So you'll lay down. Pick your hips up. This is your bridge pose. You can walk your hands, bring your hands together, walk your shoulders in. And then if you're coming up to full wheel, take your hands, top of the head, and then all the way up. Excellent. And for the final pose, take your feet above your eyes, interlace your hands, make a long angle here, long angle. And then begin to pull the feet up, let your butt come up, massage the back. And slowly release. Time for Savasana. You guys did it, well done, well done. Get yourself cozy. I want to take a nice long Savasana. This is a strong practice. We moved a lot, let the energy settle. So it's nice if you have something to cover your eyes. If you don't, fine. If you're cold, please cover your body. You don't want the sensation of cold happening. And check to see that your body feels comfortable. If you need something under your knees or any adjustment, do a body scan 2 or 3 times. Then when you're ready, begin to let go. I want you to imagine that there was like a minty, cool water that was pouring in through the top of your head and just washing through your whole body, going out your finger and toe tips. Just you felt like there was a water, cooling water just washing through the body. Get this sense of this flow. Somehow something was flowing from your brain, down, behind your eyes, through the whole body, through your heart, your arms, your elbows. Get this feeling of a flow. And this feeling of being washed. It's a cool, refreshing, vital, very fresh water. Let's get this sensation, this feeling of it, and keep bringing your attention back to that. Perfect. Now I want you to reverse the flow so you feel like something is flowing up through your feet, your hands, up your legs, knees, hips, through your chest, and out the top of your head. This is feeling the water reversed flow. It's minty, refreshing, vital, cool, full of minerals. It's really high quality spring water. Excellent. Now I want you to find any feeling of water in the body and imagine that it becomes like vapor, like when the sun hits it and it begins to rise and become a cloud. Let's get this feeling that any extra moisture just naturally started to rise off of you, and you can feel the particles of water lifting up as if they were becoming mist or fog or clouds. See if you can visualize this sensation of water rising up. And let it rise up, and as it moves, begin to feel the joy of sunlight, of being touched by sunlight, this joyous movement that even excites the water to fly. You feel like that you get the joy. The water gets so excited by the sun, it decides to fly. And you start to feel that lightness, that flying, that joy of life, of being here. Let's get that feeling of joy. I want you to feel that joy as if it was a radiant flow, like a sun in your very own heart. You just have this radiant quality, joyous, radiant quality. Just keep that for the next few minutes. I'll bring you out. Stay put. Keep that, the radiant heart. Welcome back to your body, my beautiful darlings. Lengthen your inhale. Feeling your inner radiance shine. When you're ready, drawing your arms over your chest, arms over your head and your knees into your chest, and giving yourself a big squeeze. And feel as if you are just like you're existing in a sacred temple, but that you were the thing that made it sacred, not the temple. And when you're ready, rock up to a comfortable seated position. So for those of you in the teacher training, this is where you have an opportunity to do meditation. Generally what I instruct here is straightening of the spine, so you lean back, lift your chest up. When people lean back, naturally they engage the spinal muscles, so you get a rise. And then I think it's nice to tell people, be absolutely still. It's only for a second. Drop the hands, don't itch, don't adjust. Become absolutely still. And then with your inhale, arms over your head, that invitation of clarity into the light. Exhale, hands come in front of your heart. Gesture of sharing with all sentient beings. Namaste. Good job, my dears. I hope you feel amazing. Are there any questions about any of the poses today? Otherwise, those of you in the teacher training, yeah, it was a nice practice. Guys, this is what I wanted to do. My body was wanting that, so. So the hip openers, I love those. So guys, I'm gonna see you at half after. So if you're in Peru, that's 10:30. If you're on the East Coast, it's 11:30. And if you're in Switzerland, that's 5:30. I love you guys. You all should have the link. It's in the, you got a message, it should be in your WhatsApp. If anyone doesn't, just send me the WhatsApp and I'll send it to you. I love you, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.